All right, it is coming up now on 6:30. Thanks so much for being with us here on Up with KREM. And this morning, we are just a few days from moving forward in Washington's reopening plan.
And we're going to take you outside on the coldest morning so far this winter, let you know how long this cold sticks around and what it means for you as you head out the door.
And House Democrats leading the impeachment trial wrapped up their arguments against President Trump. Then this morning, we'll tell you what you can expect today as Trump's legal team begins its defense.
Up with KREM begins now.
Well, thanks for being with us here on Up with KREM this morning. Restaurants are preparing to open their doors for Valentine's Day. Ahead on Up with KREM, we're talking with leaders at the Spokane Hospitality Coalition. They'll tell us about the impact of opening one day early in the state's reopening plan. Well, thanks for being with us this morning. Of course, it's a big step forward here as in our with our reopening plan.
Yeah, joining us this morning is Mark Starr with the Spokane Hospitality Coalition and owner of David's Pizza. Mark, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys this morning?
We're doing very well. We want to thank you for joining us this morning. And we want to ask right away, do you think these restrictions being lifted in this way is enough to really have that conversation about saving restaurants in phase 2?
Well, you know, the old expression is it's a step in the right direction. Without a doubt, it is. 25% and getting people to be able to seat inside is wonderful, especially with the doors closed in these frigid temperatures. But as I mentioned before, it's a step. We need to take the next step and get us to 50%. Once we get to there, we're at least at a break-even point.
And that's the bar, right, Mark? I mean, of course, we were talking a little bit earlier. Each establishment is different, but 50% is mainly where people need to be.
Yeah, if you have to pick a number, that's one that's pretty much industry standard. Some places will do a little better than that. 50% for some locations isn't enough, but it's pretty close now.
Now, Mark, I want to ask you, the Hospitality Coalition came together really last year in response to the pandemic, in response to finding ways to kind of keep as many doors open as possible. What are some of the ways that you've seen the restaurants are trying to just keep business from fading out completely?
Boy, you know, we've gotten awful creative, that's for sure. There's a lot of restaurants out there that at one point in their time, they may have never thought about food to go, and now it's become a staple. The Spokane community is a big partner in this. They've been so supportive, trying to help us keep our doors open, you know, putting smiles on each other's faces. You know, it's not any one thing that's going to keep this from happening. I know that the city has been a big proponent of doing all they can, not just with restaurants and bars, but all businesses, trying to keep the doors open and keep people shopping. We've really had to go someplace that we've never had to before.
And Mark, for people watching this morning and they say they want to stay safe in the pandemic, but they also want to support our local restaurants and businesses, what do you say to them?
Get out and enjoy yourselves. Probably the biggest thing that we have seen since we started seating inside again, even with the doors open and the frigid temperatures, is the smiles on people's faces. And they are genuinely appreciative that you're open. Even our staff, it's just been a complete game changer for them. You know, we're social by nature, and visiting each other at people's houses is one thing. Being able to go out to your favorite bar or restaurant is, you know, it's an experience. It's something totally different. That doesn't get replaced by food to go. You know, you need to go in and experience that.
Mark, I want to ask you, too, about partially your reaction to the move into phase 2 on Valentine's Day. But I would imagine, you know, restaurants have to reshift their inventory. They have to plan for a different number of customers. I mean, what's the preparations like now to move into phase 2 so abruptly?
You know, it's going to be a scramble for sure. I'm actually getting a food delivery as we speak. Most of your food purveyors don't necessarily work on weekends, and some of them don't normally deliver on Mondays. So there's going to be a big mobilization for the bars and restaurants to get opened up here in Spokane at whatever level they choose to. And then adding to that, of course, is Valentine's Day, which for an awful lot of places is first or second busiest day of the year for them. So a lot of outside the box thinking is going to go into making this a success.
Mark, what is the one thing you think has been the most creative for our local restaurant scene, especially having to get through the pandemic? What is the one thing that has been helping the restaurants?
The biggest help that I can pinpoint, Jen, would be the public, and it's their acceptance of the rules and regulations that we have in place that are, for lack of a better word, just flat inconvenient. But without the public's support, this would not be a success. And I would say that they are our single biggest key to getting through this.
I know, Mark, one more question for you this morning. As we hit phase 2 now, and basically over the next few months, we'll see things hopefully start to warm up a little bit. And you have always been a big advocate of that continued safety on your customers' parts. Do you have any other pitch to people that might be like, it's time to go back to David's, we're ready for that great pizza again? Any pitches for them this morning?
I think everybody's pretty much ingrained with the 3 W's, the wash your hands, wear a mask, and watch your distance. I think right now people don't even need to be reminded of that, unless you go to Idaho. No, I think it's going to be a very smooth transition. It's a pretty established statistic out there that if we can get to 50%, we will most likely also lower infection rates. That's a big one too. And just people doing their part to mind the 3 W's, we can advance to that next state. Hopefully that's sooner than later. Get us up to 50%.
Well, Mark Starr joining us live this morning. Thanks so much for your time this morning, and good luck this weekend as we open a little bit early, and for all the restaurants preparing now for the influx in business this Sunday. So again, Mark, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Get out and enjoy Valentine's Day. Nothing says you love her more than a great piece of pizza.
You aren't wrong there, Mark. Pizza is the way to a lady's heart. All right.
Or a calzone, Joshua.
That's me. I'll be there.
You got a thumbs up there. All right, Mark, thanks again for being with us here on Up with KREM.
Have a great morning.
A pizza is the way to a lady's heart. And one thing Mark didn't say, but you actually don't get as much pizza out of a heart-shaped pizza. You get the nice round one. It's more pizza for everybody. And that right there, more pizza, more love. It's a direct correlation. Early on this morning, temperatures are cold. We are chilly. There is no doubt about that. 9 degrees here in Spokane, with wind out of the northeast at about 13 miles per hour, gusting to up over 20 miles per hour. It is chilly. And you factor in the wind, and it feels much colder across the inland northwest. Temperatures down to about 9 degrees here in town, 6 in Coeur d'Alene, 7 in Sandpoint. Those colder temperatures in North Idaho are because of some breaks in the clouds, so their temperatures are colder, and it feels colder thanks to some of that wind. Teens below 0 there for your feels like, 7 below here in Spokane, 8 below in Omak. And with wind staying strong the next few hours, it's likely those feels like temperatures stay at dangerous levels until about 11 a.m. Even as the sun comes up and sun comes out for many of us, it's going to stay cold. It's going to feel especially cold if you are out in the wind. If you're down to the south where it feels a bit warmer, well, you get snow. A little something for everyone. We saw a little bit of snow come down and accumulate on the ground there in Pullman. Now moving into Moscow, and it's really come down over near Moses Lake. So get ready for snow. It's more widespread tomorrow. And for us here in Spokane, we miss out on it. Both goes round. Yeah, I think that's right grammatically, maybe. All right, temperatures near 20 degrees later on today with a mix of clouds and sun. Dana Marie.
Well, we're going to take a live look at the U.S. Capitol building this morning. Today, the impeachment trial of President Trump now heads to his defense team. After 2 days of arguments by the Democratic House managers, Trump's lawyers say they only need a few hours to present their case. Now, they argue it's too late to convict Trump now that he is out of office. His defense team will also show you some of Trump's own words from January 6th as evidence.
The evidence they have, under no circumstances, would make out a case for incitement.
Well, after the defense resets, there will be a 4-hour question and answer session, which would likely happen tomorrow. If neither side calls any witnesses, there would then be 2 hours of closing arguments before a final vote.
Well, Fairchild Air Force Base is now home to 4 Space Force guardians. Coming up after the break, we're going to speak with a second lieutenant who is joining the new military branch to tell us more about what his job looks like now.